Hello everyone, how are you? Today we will watch a brief retelling of the movie Death Race. In 2012, the global economic crisis hit. The massive unemployment caused by it provoked an unprecedented rampant crime. Prisons have been taken over by private corporations and are now making their own money. One of the prisons, called Terminal, is located on an isolated island and belongs to the largest media holding in the United States. The prison is run by Director Hennessy, who is both the head of the prison and an observer from the corporation. The main income of the company comes from the reality show Death Race, in which prisoners drive on the track allotted for this inside the prison. The prize for the 5-time winner is freedom. During one of the races, Frankenstein dies in an accident. A favorite of the races and a favorite of the public who has been participating in them since their inception. Not wanting to lose the audience, Hennessy announces that Frankenstein is wounded and is in the hospital, and she begins to look for a new person to take his place. Since Frankenstein performs in a mask, the only requirement for the candidate is high driving skills. Former race car driver Jensen Ames, fired from the plant after its bankruptcy, one day finds a masked man in his house who kills his wife, euthanizes Ames himself, and puts a bloody knife in his hand. The police arrest Jensen for murder and send him to the terminal for a crime he didn't commit. Hennessy offers Ames a deal. He spends 3 races for her under the mask of Frankenstein and gets freedom. The rules of the race are simple. You need to get to the finish line, destroying the largest number of opponents. Cars are equipped with firearms, a smoke screen, an oil sprayer, napalm, and other devices, and their use is made only after the permission of the organizers of the race, upon arrival at a certain sign. Shield. Activation of protection, sword. Activation of weapons, skull. Activation of obstacles. The crew of the car is a pilot and a navigator who knows the route and, at the command of the pilot, turns on the weapon. During the race, Ames recognizes one of the rivals as the killer of his wife by the characteristic shot gesture that he shows. They call him Pachenko. The rider is so shocked that Frankenstein finishes the first stage of the race last. Angry, Ames goes to the head of the prison and threatens to refuse to participate in the race. The head of the prison does not deny that she set up the murder, but shows Ames a photograph of his daughter, who is in a foster family. For the sake of his daughter, Ames agrees to race. During the repair of the car, he sees Pachenko and goes to his garage, where he enters into battle with the entire pit stop team. Pachenko confesses that he killed Ames' wife on Hennessy's orders. Fighters are separated by prison guards with the help of stun guns. During the race, Ames crashes Pachenko's car and then breaks his neck. Suddenly, on the next lap of the race, a huge truck suddenly appears, equipped with powerful machine guns and heavy armor, which Hennessy calls the Dreadnought. An armored truck races against everyone, destroying the cars of other participants. Ames agrees on the radio with Machine Gunner Joe to act together, and together they manage to disable the Dreadnought by pushing it into an obstacle. As a result, only 2 cars reach the end of the second stage of the race. Realizing that he will not achieve release, Ames decides to act on his own. He negotiates with Joseph Mason, nicknamed Machine Gun Joe, Frankenstein's only competitor. Before the final stage of the race, prison guards mine Ames' car in order to blow it up at the right time, simulating an accident. Hennessy signs the release papers and hands them over to Ames to show him his honesty. During the race, Ames and Mason pretend to compete while waiting for the right moment. When he introduces himself, Mason shoots, but not at Ames, but past, breaking through the fence. Ames and Mason drive through the gap and leave the prison. Hennessy attempts to detonate the explosive device in Ames' car, but no explosion occurs as mechanics from Frankenstein's team have removed and deactivated the bomb. Leaving the chase, Ames prepared a surprise in the form of a spare tank of fuel, while the main one shoots in the direction of the chase, blowing up a string of police cars. Then Hennessy lifts helicopters into the air. Ames and Heavy Joe drive off in different directions. Hennessy gives the order to pursue Frankenstein's car. Ames jumps out of the car and hides, while Case, Ames' navigator, puts on a mask and turns himself into security, giving them extra time. Before doing so, she explains to Ames that Hennessy has already signed her release papers. Racers jump on the train and change clothes. Meanwhile, a guard brings good news to the warden. The show breaks all records. The last episode was already watched by 70 million people and even began to receive gifts to the organizers of the show. Opening the gift box, Hennessy sees the same explosive device that, on her orders, was planted in Ames' car. There is a powerful explosion in the tower of the organizers of the race. After Hennessy's death, Ames and Case are clear before the law. 6 months later, Heavy Joe and Ames are fixing cars in Mexico. Jensen is raising a little daughter, and one day the freed Case comes to them. Thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe to the channel. See you.